Happy Tuesday.
I wish everyone was watching on YouTube Josh's face just now when he said that.
Had to mix it up. That's my impression of you. What'd you think?
Great.
Yeah.
I
Or
was just waiting
Happy
for
Tuesday. You know.
his held up his water.
So I gotta do it all together. So Happy Tuesday. There we go.
My beer or my glass of wine.
Yeah, there you go. Mine was not. But you guys get the idea. Go ahead, Deb. Let's start this thing off right. Do your thing.
No, you already did it. That was perfect. I don't need to say Happy Tuesday now. That was
All
great.
right, perfect.
That was like superb.
Superb. Thank you. That's like those you remember in elementary school you'd have those stickers. It's like, hey, great, A plus, superb. Things like that.
Yeah.
I got some that's like, yeah, you tried. You did your best. No, I'm kidding. You know what's funny? Sometimes I have to be really careful because like, and I've talked to people about this before. Like I've talked to Jordan about this. Like the self, deprecating humor is something I do. Is I will make fun of myself, no problem. But have you ever been in a situation where people don't get that?
Mm-hmm.
It's the worst because you say something and it's clearly a joke. Like, and then they're like, no, you're not dumb. It's like, well, thank you. I didn't think I was really dumb. Now I'm starting to question it because you said that. But
Yeah.
I've had to be careful because I've made jokes about like school, like how I did in school and stuff like that. I actually did really well in school, but I make those jokes and they're like, oh, I'm sure it wasn't that bad. I'm like, no, I'm kidding. It was pretty good. I'm just joking. Anyways,
Right.
not gonna do that again. So
Yeah. I'll say something and I'll say I did this and my friends will be like, why'd you do that? And I'm like, because I'm stupid. Like I'll just say, and
yeah.
then I last year I was dating this guy and I would say things like that and he would be like, don't talk about yourself like that. And it would be
Oh,
like,
jeez.
and I was like, I'm joking. Okay, fine. So I couldn't call myself stupid anymore, but it was just like part of my humor. I'm just like, just let me say it. I don't really think I'm stupid.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me ask you a question. Did you stop saying that?
Probably not. I
I
don't
was gonna
remember.
say because if I know you, it's like okay, it's like that Michael Michael Scott thing where Pam's like, you need to stop dating my mom. He's like, I'm gonna date her harder. That's kind of the same thing. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, don't call yourself stupid. It's like, I'm really really stupid. Just really lean into it.
Yeah, lean into it.
All right. Well,
Just,
yeah. Well, there
yeah,
you go.
yeah. That's my humor as well. So you get me.
Yep. That's why we're still podcasting together after all these years.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen too often because I think a lot of people kind of get a pretty good sense of the back and forth between you and I. And I think the people that know us, most of the jokes I make at your expense, they know is all in good fun, and same when you make fun of me. But there have been a couple of times where you kind of look at someone, it's like, I don't think they've caught on yet, and I think they think we're being mean to each other, and I think they don't want to be here.
They figure it out after a while.
Eventually,
Yeah.
yeah, eventually. But anyways, yeah, I'll say it on air. I'll say it on record. I'm thankful that you're my co-host.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. Did you
I only
see?
said that because it's a segue for this Thanksgiving episode. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said it.
Yes, you did. Did you know how when you texted me on my birthday, I said thank you and I put friend. I
I
called you.
did see that. Yeah, I did see that. Now, let's be fully transparent with everybody because it was Deb's birthday a few days ago. So happy birthday to you! And I did send something like, "Hey, happy birthday, my friend. Hope you have an amazing day," something like that. So let's be real. I did initiate the friend thing, if I wouldn't have said it, I don't think Deb would have said it.
Yes, I would have.
Okay. Can I tell you something too? Because we've been honest about this on this podcast that we don't get like the most number of downloads or views or anything like that. We love doing it, but we also know like we haven't blown up yet. I do wonder if I feel like I'm like your secret podcast friend and that you don't tell people about me. But if this podcast really started blowing up, I think things would change between you and I.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think you'd be ashamed.
It's
It's like the secret that gets out. It's like, oh yeah, I guess this guy, I podcast with him. I mean, we're cool. Yeah, it's fine.
My high school kids would love that. You know what? I think they would be, well, because one of my coworkers was asking the other day, do the kids know that you podcast? And I was like, I don't know. And I think if they did know, I don't think they would be interested. I think they would, just because they're so, I'm not like the young teacher anymore. I'm their parents' age. So I think they would probably ask a few questions and then maybe they'd be curious and look it up. But then their attention span, I don't think high school kids listen to podcasts. They do the TikToks, they do the short, like I don't know that they can sit down and listen to a whole podcast.
Maybe not. Definitely not ours, the
Yeah.
hour long ones.
Yeah.
And yeah, that might be tough. It
Yeah.
was interesting. I was at a family thing recently with a lot of extended family, and a few of them know that I podcast. But
Mhm.
recently, um, on my other podcast, I had a cousin of mine who coaches in the area. There's a football coach in the area. He was on the podcast, and so that was the first time I really had someone, from the extended family actually on the show. And so when we went to this family get together recently, a lot of people, some people I knew who are family, some people I met for the first time that were like, family of family, brought the podcast up like, oh, you're the podcast guy. Yes, I am. I am the podcast guy. And then they started talking to me about it, which was very nice, very kind of them to do. But yeah, more conversations about the podcast at this family get together than I've ever had.
Oh,
So
nice.
starting to catch on, Deb.
There you go. We're
Yeah.
trending.
Ah, huh.
Are we trending?
I wish. I wish that'd be nice. Maybe one day. You never know.
You just gotta put some of my dating stories out there in there, and then it'll really trend. Then I might get fired from my job. So
You know what's funny about that? I'm glad you said that. I was going to have this conversation with you off air, but here we are. Because I feel like a couple episodes ago, I was asking you some questions about a specific situation,
mhm.
and sometimes there's a weird balance for me because I never want to pry in your life, but then something comes up on the podcast. I'm like, well, this will be good. This will be fun for the show. It's a weird balance for me. You know what I mean? Because again, I know you're a teacher, so I don't want to pry and have you say something crazy or not even crazy, but something that, basically something that I have to edit out later. Don't want
Yeah.
to do that. But it is a little bit of a weird balance because like there's like half of my brain is like, this will be fun to riff on this for a while and make fun of you or make fun of the situation. And there's the other half where it's like, hey, don't be a douche. Don't do that. It's a real tug of war between both sides of my brain.
Yeah, it's a yeah. At this point, I'm like, I don't care. I'll just say it. I don't think it's fine.
Okay.
Or I'll say, oh, and I remember I don't know what we were talking about on the last episode about, oh yeah, about like my dating and like, remember how I was telling you how guys would comment about how I'm a teacher?
That's what I was referring to.
And you're like, what's the worst thing someone said? And I was like, I can't say it here. I never
Sure.
told you off air. So after this, I'll tell you.
Okay. We'll talk about that. Here's the thing. I did think about that. I'm like, I'm
Here.
not going to bring this up because I'm like, it's none of my business, but yes, we'll talk about it off air. I'm curious.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
What's the, what is it called when people have to subscribe to, what's it called? Starts with a P. Why am I
Patreon.
thinking? Yeah, we'll do a Patreon of it. It's fine.
Patreon. Maybe one day if we could figure something out, maybe we'll do a Patreon.
Okay.
Do you remember a while ago when we were trying to figure out the name of this podcast? Jordan tossed out the name Fire and Rice.
I remember that.
Yeah. Trust me, I have it in my notes somewhere. I've kept that as a potential Patreon thing. I don't know exactly what it would be.
I liked that name. I told you I liked that one.
I liked it too. It was not a bad name. That's why I've kept it in my notes. It's like, and I told Jordan, I said, I'm going to use it for something. I just got to figure out what that thing is. I said, I feel like it's got to be something that's very specific. And if any of you don't know, and you're just listening, and you've never seen us, I'm half Japanese, Josh Takimoto, and then Deb is a ginger, has red hair. So, I don't think we need to explain any more than that.
Fire and
I think you
Rice.
get the names Fire and Rice.
Yeah. There you go. Put two and two together. I think that's
Hey,
a
you know
great.
what? That could be like a sitcom, like a cop sitcom. You and I are partners. Fire and Rice.
I think we should have the people vote. Let's give the people what they want.
To switch this name.
No, to do a why did I forget
A
Patreon?
Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon. Yeah.
Fire and Rice. Okay. We'll
That'd be
vote.
awesome.
Okay.
we'll make money doing this one day. It would help me fulfill some not promises, but ideas that I had for Deb when we first started. I was like, yeah, maybe we can make some money doing this. It's been 6 years. No, not a cent has been
That's
made by this podcast.
because we haven't
So
done Patreon. That's why. So
yeah, so that's the real reason I'm surprised Deb hasn't left this podcast yet. She's like, 6 years, my bank account hasn't been impacted at all. In fact, honestly, we probably lost money on this podcast.
yeah.
So,
I just show up.
anyways,
I just show up and talk, and Josh
what,
does all the muscle. I just show up and talk and close my laptop.
I've told Rachel before, you have more of an impact than you think. So I do appreciate you being here.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. So
Thankful. Look at that. Look at that segue. You're thankful for me again. Do I need?
yeah, I was thankful the first time. Now it's just, let's not get too mushy. Anyways, let's move on, Deb. So this is our Thanksgiving episode. I don't think we did a Thanksgiving episode last year. I think we just kind of rolled through and didn't really talk about it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
we've done Thanksgiving episodes in the past before, but
yes.
for some reason last year it didn't really work out. But yeah, do you have any plans for Thanksgiving?
I am going to do something a little different this year. So I normally go back home to the Central Valley to my parents' house.
Okay.
And there's lots of family over there, and it's like a bigger event than Christmas usually. I mean, the house is packed. But this year, I'm actually going to go up north to Santa Rosa to stay with my sister. My sister and her husband just bought a new house like down the street from them. And so they're like still unpacking and they have a lot going on. So they decided a while ago, like, hey, since this is going on, we're just going to stay up here for Thanksgiving. And, she told me, she's like, you're welcome to come, whatever you want to do. Her husband's sister is going to go there as well. And so I'm like, I'll come too. And so I'm going to go to my sister's for Thanksgiving. It's just going to be very small. It's just going to be my sister, her husband, his sister, and then my nephew. So it's going to be awesome. The aunties and the nephew and the parents, and that's it. And I think she's going to have a friend come over too for Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Awesome. Has it been a while since you've seen your sister?
No, I saw her recently. I went there, I think last month to help her do some packing and stuff for her house. And then before that, she came to visit me. So as much as I don't get to see her, I've seen her quite a bit this year, not more than, I would like to see her more, but, so this will be good to kind of just have some Thanksgiving time with her. Cause in the past, sorry, I'm giving Nala a bully stick. So
That's okay. No worries.
Doesn't bother me. This is a time in the podcast that in time of the night where she looks at me, she still doesn't understand me looking at a computer and not at her. She's like, what are you doing? So
right.
Anyway, normally for holidays, for Thanksgiving and Christmas, she and her husband will take turns staying in the Central Valley with like our side of the family and then going to San Diego for his side of the family. But the past couple of years, unfortunately, both of his parents have passed away. And so very quickly and very suddenly. So his sister is still in San Diego. So now she'll come up and spend the holidays with us. Awesome. Or down with her. So anyway, it just kind of worked out to where she comes up and hangs and is spending Thanksgiving up there. So I'm like, I will also go.
That's awesome.
Go. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Food, and my sister has requested that I make deviled eggs, which I haven't made in a hot minute. There was a time over COVID where I was obsessed with deviled eggs, and that's all I made like every day. I don't know what it was.
That's a weird thing.
It was
good for you. That's a weird thing to make. It's like people make like muffins or cupcakes and you're just making deviled eggs.
Yeah, I was just craving it.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Fair enough. Can I say something though? It's off topic a little bit, but it's on topic with Thanksgiving. But so I have a little bit of a pet peeve that has come up, and it's weird because it's one of those things that doesn't really affect me that much. But like, I think if I was hosting, this would really bother me. And it just seems weird. I feel bad for the person that hosts, but like, I think it drives me nuts. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but like, have you ever experienced a situation where you have a person just show up unexpectedly to like a Thanksgiving dinner or like a holiday. It's like no one invited you. Like I'm sure they would have, but like no one invited you, and then you just show up out of nowhere and surprise everybody. And it's like this seems crazy rude. Like I don't know why you would do that.
I
Like
have
having someone like just pop up out of nowhere and say like, "Hey, like we weren't expecting you," or one person wasn't expecting you, and then now here you are. Like now we have to include you in this whole thing.
so I've like when I do Thanksgiving like at my parents' house, they oh my god, there's my sister.
Boom! We sold that whole thing.
That was awesome.
We did.
What are you doing? There's
I've been DMing your sister, which I know sounds weird, but it's true. I have been DMing your sister.
Did you know that
All
today's her
appropriate.
birthday?
All appropriate.
Did you know that today's her birthday?
I found out when you posted, and I felt horrible because we've been planning this podcast for a little while.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
And then you posted what you did on your stories. I'm like, oh, it's your birthday. I'm like, it's your birthday today? I said, you don't have to do this if you don't want. So
No, I wouldn't have been like, yeah, if I had big plans. It's a school night. I'm not doing anything crazy tonight. So
perfect. I told my wife, because my wife's like, isn't Deb's sister on tonight? I said, yeah. She's like, isn't it her birthday? Like, it is. I said, we figured it out. We're all good. But my wife was concerned too. It's like, you douche. You're doing this on her birthday? What's wrong with you? So yeah, so
okay.
I'll set this up real quick. So I forgot when you had DM'd the podcast, Alicia, but you had mentioned basically, hey, if you ever wanted to do a podcast with like some sister stories, that would be a lot of fun. And then we went back and forth. And then I'm like, hey, do you want to surprise her or do you want to let her know? And she's like, it's up to you. I'm like, perfect. Let's surprise her. Yeah. And then I realized, looking at the calendar, this week we were doing our Thanksgiving episode. I'm like, that would be the perfect time to do it. So
yes,
it's been it's been in the works for a little while. So
funny.
I've been working on my intro to it.
I saw the screen pop up to where someone was going to pop in, and I was like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's Alicia.
It's an ambush.
It was an ambush.
I love it.
And I don't have cool ambiance lighting, but I have like a move behind me. Like we're getting unpacked in this room. So excuse my mess back here.
You have cool headphones, though. I don't have headphones.
Well, because Robert's computer, my husband's, and he's like a gamer. So it's the only way to get sound and voice.
Honestly, it sounds really good.
Oh, good.
So as someone who has to edit this bad boy, I'm very pleased with the audio. It sounds really good.
Good news.
Good news. So anyways, we thought this would be a fun surprise, Deb. Alicia, thank you so much for doing this. And thank you for doing this on your birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I didn't realize you guys' birthdays were so close together.
I know. We always had a lot of conjoined birthday parties when we were younger. Joint birthday.
Me and my sister are not quite as close, but I'm August 7th and she's August 21st. So very similar, a lot of joint birthday parties. So I get that for sure. Yeah. But so Deb, here's the thing. So we are doing the Thanksgiving thing. But I do have a couple of things that are questions specifically for Alicia. So buckle up, Deb.
Love it.
First of all, let's just get the elephant, the big elephant in the room out of the way. Okay, a few episodes ago, excuse me, you said that your sister was a dream crusher. And I wanted to give Alicia an opportunity to at least address that. Because back then she wasn't here, so now she gets to address it to your face. Do you feel like you're a dream crusher?
I don't know. I didn't hear that episode. I haven't heard all the episodes. I like listening. I feel like I would have texted her right away had I heard that. So I don't know what exactly she was referring to. I can only recall like two specific instances where it would have been construed as dream. What dream killer? Dream crusher?
You're right. Dream killer. You're right. Not crusher.
Okay.
Killer.
Okay. That's
right.
More intense. But I think that I was practical like my mom. And I think that one time she said she was going to have a Jaguar car. And I was like, no, you're not. I don't know why I just shut that down. We were a practical family. We had like used cars always. So maybe that was one of the times. The only other time I could think about killing her dream was she said she wanted to work at Disneyland. She said she was going to come to Southern California and work at Disneyland while going to school. But that exact same Disneyland trip, one of the cast members was like teasing her for having like a, what do you call it? An RBF, like a resting you know what face. He didn't say that, obviously. And he kind of made one of those comments that women hate to hear. It's like, try smiling, which is bad. Don't say that to women, men, or people.
Sure.
Like, no one should have to smile. But anyway, I was like, you can't work at Disneyland. You have to be smiling all the time. Like, you're not going to work at Disneyland. Those are the only 2 times I can recall that I did that. So you're going to have to fill me in, Stinker, on, sorry, we call each other that.
That's perfect. I like that. I think you were, if I remember correctly, you're 1 for 2.
Okay.
So you got the Jaguar. Yes, that was one of them. I forgot about the Disneyland one. And yes, and let me add, that was my middle school, like, goth, like I was just kind of like mad at the world stage anyway. So, and then, so the other time that I was talking about, Alicia, I don't know if you remember this, I was really little, again, so, super silly, but it's still a dream crusher in my category. Remember when I was trying to make an airplane out of a wood pile?
No.
Okay, I was trying to make an airplane, and like, okay. And then Alicia was like, "You can't make an airplane. That's ridiculous."
You can't make an airplane out of wood. So it's probably
dream crusher.
Well, and honestly, Alicia didn't even remember you said that, so that dream was so dumb that she's like, just pushed it out of her memory.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry for crushing that airplane wood building dream of yours.
That you remember the Jaguar one.
That is funny.
Yeah, I don't know why I remember that. And sorry, like, go for it. Buy a Jaguar. Like, you could do it, you know?
Well, the good news is that I finally grew up, and I am also practical. And so I have a Nissan now. So, yeah.
So well done, Alicia. You did your job.
I did.
You did. Okay, so, well, it's funny. You kind of answered this without me even asking, but I was going to ask you, Alicia. So what are some nicknames that you had for Deb growing up? I mean, I don't know if there's multiple. You just mentioned one, but are there a couple others that you had for her?
So she called me Sissy a lot. You know, we're 3 years apart. I'm older, and so I called her Sissy back. And then for a long time, and some of our friends picked up on this too, we called each other Pooher, and I don't know why. Like not like Winnie the Pooh, but Pooher. Like I don't think we know how that came about.
No idea.
I'm not sure. And now it's evolved to Stinker somehow. I really, those are the 3 nicknames. That's all I got, really.
Yeah, we have a close circle of friends that we grew up with, like in our neighborhood. Our poor dad, they were all girls. Go figure, they're all girls. There was like 12 of us. There was a lot of us. And so anyway, they all picked up on it. So now we all, to this day, like Alicia, like Kristen, Michelle, like we call each other Pooher.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I don't know where it came from. Anyway.
Hey, you know what? Some of those things don't even need an origin story, right? It's just like, it is what it is, and there's no explanation, and it's just a fun family thing. I like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, Alicia, before we hopped on here, it was perfect timing. I'm not gonna lie, because she was explaining how she was going to see you for the holidays upcoming, and you know, we were just talking about all those things. But Deb's made it pretty well known on this podcast, and all the years we've podcasted together, that she does not cook, and she doesn't want to cook. And I think she's mentioned one time that you make really good potatoes, if I remember correctly, like mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes, yeah. Okay,
so that one's off the table. You can't choose that. So if you were having Deb over like you are, and she needed to bring some kind of dish, what is the one dish you're like, okay, it can't be potatoes, but it can be something else. I want her to bring this. And then what's the other dish you're like, whatever you do, Deb, do not even think about trying to make this dish.
Well, I'm surprised she hasn't mentioned deviled eggs, because she makes really good deviled eggs. She did. So I think that's the plan already. She's going to make some deviled eggs.
Okay.
And I don't know if she said she can bake. She can bake. It's in our blood. It's like, our mom was a fantastic baker. I think she just doesn't take the time to do it anymore. So she can do it. So anything like dessert wise baked, yes. Deviled eggs, mashed potatoes, no meat. I don't think I trust her to make the turkey or fish or anything that needs to have a thermometer to check the temperature. I would say no.
Yeah.
for everyone's food safety.
I agree.
Just a house full of sick people. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why she's like deviled eggs, Deb. It's simple. Just boil the egg and anyone can do it.
There you go. So Deb, what do you look forward to that your sister makes for like a Thanksgiving type thing?
The dessert, anything. She makes any of the food that she makes is great. Like she said, like our mom, like it's in our blood. Like our friends called our mom Betty Crocker. Like she was
awesome.
a fantastic baker. I did bake for a while years ago. Yeah, I haven't in a while. Alicia is so good at it, like has perfected like our mom's cookies and like just several other recipes and has tried stuff. So anything she bakes, I'm so looking forward to that. But Alicia can throw something together just like really quick and make it taste good. And our mom was really good at that as well. I'm more so like our dad and I resort to like the microwave or like something a little
Sure.
yes, like a quick skillet or something.
Yeah.
I think that everything, she made a list of what we were eating and I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be good. Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, I mean, it sounds like, you guys mentioned the baking thing it's kind of like a point of connection for you guys, but is there anything else? Obviously, I get the sense you guys have been pretty close, and you guys were close growing up and close now. Is there like one thing that's kind of like a through line since like you were little that you guys have always connected on? I mean, I don't know if it was like sports, like me and my brother, it's always been the sports thing, right? Like sports has always connected us. For my sister, we have certain things, like we grew up on the same TV shows. And so we have, things that connect us there. Is there anything that you guys have just always like really connected on as sisters growing up and even to today?
I mean, yeah. No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, yeah, like we played sports our whole life. So just that's a connection there. We're both teachers. And so we like to bounce stuff off each other and vent to each other about teaching, especially in the early years. Yeah. And we just, what else can we think of?
Well, like growing up, yeah, definitely sports, our love of things, Disney.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we're Disney adults now. You guys know that phrase, like Disney adults? Like we're not at that level, mostly because of how much it costs, I think, and just how far away we live from like Disneyland. But
yeah,
we definitely love to, the 90s Disney movies, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Lion King. Those were always really fun. And remember this, Deb? Oh my gosh, I haven't thought of this in a while. We used to do this thing. We do it on the weekends or just if it was like a rainy day, and probably our dad came up with it. We call it a surprise movie. And Deborah and I took turns choosing. Remember this? We'd pick, I'm going to pick a surprise movie. So everyone had to like close their eyes. We go to like the VHS wall or whatever, the cabinet. We had this closet, I guess, and we put a movie in and we're like all waiting for the surprise movie. That kind of thing was always fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, definitely as we've gotten older, we've connected on different things, like kind of she alluded to, teaching. And
sure,
we still kind of do that. I feel like anytime I come over, Alicia, you're like, okay, I'm going to put a show on for you. Okay, hang on, we're going to watch something. We still kind of do that. Yeah, except with streaming now, not VHS. Yeah. Like she'll put something on and she'll be like, do you remember this? Or have you seen this? And Alicia and I are very weirdly, like oddly good. We love IMDb. So we love like trying to guess, like, I remember that person was in this movie at this time. I don't know. Yeah. We're so weird. So we like to connect on TV shows and movies too.
Very nice. Not to derail us, but I found recently on IMDb, because I'm a big IMDb fan as well. For different shows, they have like a grid that it's a grid that shows you like the different seasons in these columns, and then each square is the episode, and it shows you what the rating is for that episode on IMDb.
Interesting.
It was pretty cool. So I did that for The Office, and you have so many different ratings and color coding. It's actually really cool. Didn't do anything for my life, but it was interesting to me. Yeah. So do you guys both enjoy, because I know it's a big thing on this podcast that Deb loves, the true crime documentaries. Is that your thing too, Alicia?
No, not at all. No.
All right. It's nice to have another sane person on this podcast. Thank you.
I know a lot of people who are into that. It's just, I don't know. Yeah. Not for me.
You're also a mom too, right? So it's like, I feel like there's no way my wife, even prior to kids, there's no way she's going to watch it. But like, especially with kids now, there's no way.
it just scares you too much, especially if there's children involved. You're just like, nope, that's my worst nightmare. Like, nope.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what it is or when I started doing, but like even just before this, I was watching a documentary before we hopped on.
Well, she's told me about a few of them. You took me
Sure.
past that house in Sac of
Uh-huh.
like one of the only
Oh yeah.
serial killers who's female in California or something like that.
Hold on.
Right? She told me all the things.
Like want to go see the house? Want to go see the
I'm
serial
like,
killer's house?
sure.
So she came out to visit you, and your first thought was all these restaurants, places you could have taken her. And you're like, you know what? We're taking her past the serial killer house.
Well, we happened to be near it. So I
Uh,
don't know if I don't know, maybe she thought, I don't know if that was like in the back of her mind. And I could show her the house. But
Yeah.
we ate at this really good restaurant. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're really close to this house. Let me show you. And she told me the whole story.
Ooh, that sounds like a setup to me. I was like, oh, I completely forgot. We're right here. Just check it out.
For the Dorothea Puente house, it's just a staple and true crime. I just had to. My poor sister, she was like, I guess, and I'm like, no, it's really cool. I promise. And she's like, cool. Can we hurry up?
Sure.
So that's
well,
if we could talk about things that like were different on today, that's probably one of them. I listen to true crime podcast every single day.
you know, I got that sense just based on Alicia's reaction. I'm like, they're in a very different boat here.
Yeah.
So, Alicia, I do have a question for you about Deb as far as being an aunt. And actually, I'm curious too, Deb. You've mentioned a little bit on the podcast before about your sister and the kind of mom she is, but like I would love to hear you guys' perspective. You know, Alicia, Deb as an aunt, and then Deb, Alicia as a mom. Just what that's like, because you know we hear the stories from Deb, but I would love to hear it from your perspective as well.
Yeah, for sure. So we're kind of like in a unique spot with Calvin, with my son coming into the world because it was just a few months into lockdown. And so, you know, June 2020, and we couldn't even have anybody at the hospital besides my husband and myself. And he was a preemie, so he had to stay in about 10 days extra. And we brought him home, and Deborah was already, you were on your way. You're on the way because they wanted to help us out for a little bit. And, you know, they were coming, when I say they, it's Deb and my folks, my stepmom and my dad. They were coming with their masks and stuff and their hand sanitizer and all the things. So I had this condition called preeclampsia, which I've had before, and it's awful. But basically, I had already given birth, like, I don't know, maybe 12 days, 13 days prior. And I started getting these symptoms again. I'm like, oh, great. And so we're on the way. Robert is taking me to the hospital with our tiny little baby in the car seat. And I call her and I think I said that, the kind of like mom thing. Everything's okay, but I am going back to the hospital. We'll probably be readmitted. And so Robert's going to definitely need some help with the brand new baby. So she was very hands-on, like literally from day one when she could be. And so like the four of them were taking shifts with these like around the clock, like feedings. I think I was only in there for like 2.5 days. I was totally away from them. And so she got to just tiny little, less than 5-pound baby. And then with doing the virtual teaching, it wasn't as intense. Like, would you say labor intensive? Anyway, lots of trips to visit us and lots of time with the kiddo. And he's funny. He calls her by his other auntie's name and vice versa. Like he'll be calling her 2 different names the whole time she's visiting.
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
He just switches back and forth. And we don't correct him anymore. We're just like, she's Auntie Mona, but then she's Auntie Deb and she's Auntie Mona. And Calvin said something to me recently. I don't know if I told you this yet, Deb, but he says, Auntie Mona gets me clothes and Auntie Deb gets me noisy toys. So, because they kind of do. Like Mona always sends clothes for him and she sends him toys that make noise. So she's a very fun auntie and just really, really loving. I think it's going to be fun to kind of see how their relationship kind of continues as he grows up. And he's always really excited to have her over. And I feel like Calvin and our dog Hoen are kind of all vying for her attention at the same time. Just like
Yeah.
Pay attention to me. So yeah, she's a fantastic auntie, and I kind of wish she lived a little closer so we could just see each other more often, but we do get to see each other quite a bit. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, Alicia, I feel like Alicia is really good at, as I don't get to see them as often, like she said, as we like. And Alicia, I feel like you're really good at reminding Calvin and letting him know, like, this is your Auntie Deb's coming over, or, even with Mona, Auntie Mona's coming, like, just to kind of remind him, because we'll do Marco Polos to each other. It's an app where, I don't know, Josh, do you know Marco Polo?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
So well, and then Alicia will be like, Calvin, do you want to say hi to Auntie Deb? Like she's just really good at that. And so I'm just always surprised whenever I do come over. I'm not surprised, but I'm always like, oh my gosh, like he remembers my name. But I think it's because Alicia is always talking about me and reminding him of like who I am. So that, that's a huge part of it as well. Cause I don't get to see him every day, which I wish I could, but it was fun. It was, I mean, at the beginning, like Alicia said, when Calvin was brought home, I was there like for most of the summer because it was summer, right? And I was
Right.
teaching summer school, but online. So I was just like, I'll just teach over there. But I was there for most of the summer, and it was a really cool experience just to kind of like help with that and like a newborn. Like I've never done that before. Like I'm not around babies like ever. So that experience was really special.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Alicia's a really good mom. She's very she's a lot like our mom. Like I watch her parent and I watch her just kind of like how she is with Calvin, and she's just very gentle and very loving, and she does a great job. Yeah,
Thank you.
it's great.
Very nice. Well, that was a very sweet moment for both you guys. Thank you guys for sharing that.
Yeah.
Now, Alicia, so the whole reason you and I got connected in the first place was because when you reached out and said, "Hey, anytime you want to, do a podcast, I have some Deb stories." So, and we have a few, Thanksgiving things that we need to get to at the end here, but
Yes.
that I would love to hear your opinion on. I'm sure we have some. I know one story we have which is pretty funny. Deb, I'm sure you got some more. But before we get there, I wanted to give you the floor, Alicia. So if you have any stories that you think our audience would appreciate about Miss Deb here, the floor is yours.
I mean, gosh, I try to think back to the earliest memory was they brought her home from the hospital, and I don't remember her coming home from the hospital because I was 4. I was just about to turn 4, but I remember feeling jealous because, there's this new baby coming, and we watched these home videos, and we had our cousins who now kind of live in different states, and their dad was stationed out at Castle Air Force Base, which was right. And anyways, our cousins were over all the time. They were older. They would like babysit us. We love them. We spent so much time with them. And there are these home videos, and they're all kind of like Deborah's like a little 1-year-old on a blanket, and they're like, ooh, like just like and I'm literally being like, look at me, like kind of trying to get their attention. And so I definitely remember feeling jealous, but I think as soon as she was old enough to play with, I was kind of like, okay, this is fun. But I also kind of knew my power that I had being the older, stronger one at the time. So I used to tease her a lot, and I was very like maybe overly affectionate, and she wanted some space. So I kind of like squeeze her, and I'd like pat her on the diaper like really hard. And she developed this, we called it a squeal, and she would go, like that. That was kind of before she could really talk. When my parents heard that, they knew that Alicia's bothering Deborah. So they'd like come running, and my mom would tell this story. So I wasn't there for this, but my mom would always tell this story that one time Deborah just came into the kitchen. She was probably, I don't know, like around 2 or 3 years old, or 2.5 maybe. And she said to my mom, Alicia's teasing me. But I wasn't home at the time. So my mom would say, Alicia's not here right now. She's playing at so-and-so's house. And then I guess Deb said, oh, and then just walked out of the kitchen. So my mom always thought that was funny. She never knew if she was just trying to get me in trouble or if she was remembering, oh, I forgot to tell on her, so I'm going to do it now. Really cute, really cute.
That's funny.
And
funny.
Even from being a little child, people were always noticing and commenting on her red hair, like all the time, like strangers in the grocery store. And I just remember one time we were Christmas shopping and my mom let us go off by ourselves to this one shop to get like her Christmas present. And, you know, she was close by, but like an older man made a comment about her hair. And I was like very protective, kind of like, I knew that was like, you probably shouldn't be making that comment to a, you know, it wasn't
Sure.
anything like super inappropriate. It was just for me, I kind of had that protective feeling.
Yeah.
And oh, I hope I don't embarrass her. She was really little. I don't think she'll be embarrassed, but when
So
I
I'm hoping
came,
you do, actually.
I know I'm too nice sometimes, but basically both of our parents had glasses, like just, you know, they wore glasses all the time. Our mom wore contacts back in the day, but you know, they always had these like big like 80s 90s glasses on. And when I was, I don't know, fourth grade maybe, I came home with reading glasses. I don't know if you remember this, Deb, but so I was like, oh, I got my reading glasses, yay. And all of a sudden Deborah was off by herself crying in her room because she was the only one in the family who didn't have glasses. She felt very left out. And, you know, you wouldn't think like a little, gosh, if I was in fourth grade, she was in kindergarten. She's a kindergartner. And, you know, my parents were like, oh, it's okay. So my mom scheduled a optometrist appointment for her, like just so she could feel included. And, you know, of course, years later, she has really terrible eyesight like the rest of us,
There you go.
um,
I also had FOMO when you got braces.
with the braces? You didn't need braces.
I know. I wanted braces. Anything my sister had, I wanted. Like I wanted to copy her because like I looked up to her. Anything that she did, I wanted to try it. I wanted to do the same things that she did. So when she got braces, I was like, where are my braces?
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. It was fun. And then, so like she had mentioned, we had just a whole bunch of girls in our neighborhood. I don't know. Like it was like all girls and we were all around the same age, but it was nice because I had my girls and their sisters were all they were all in the same grade. And so I used to be like the ringleader of all the neighborhood kids. Like I was like, we would make fake clubs. I was always a self-appointed president. And, you know, I let the little kids join, but me and my girlfriends, we would call them the babies. They were the babies, even though they weren't babies anymore, but oh, the babies, we kind of tease them. And anything we did, like we would do a play, we do a skit, you know, we just like make up lines and perform it for, you know, our parents. And then they were like, grab the props and do the same thing. And they try to copy us. And that was always flattering, but cute. And I don't know. We also just have a lot of like fun memories around sports. Oh yeah, her favorite animal. Okay, this is embarrassing. Okay, again, she was little. Remember how you loved cows? Like for years, a cow was your favorite animal. Like I was into horses, even though I never like took horse riding lessons because they were just too expensive. She loved cows. I don't know why. She was just like, I love cows. So because she loved cows, she liked the smell of a dairy.
Oh, jeez.
Like I think it didn't last very long, but I think it's because like when
But,
she
like,
smelled it, she
like
knew cows were close by. I don't know. I don't know what it was.
That is a wild choice. I
it,
never heard of kids say like, "Oh, I'm a big cow fan."
Love cows. I don't know.
I don't know. I can't even like speak for 5-year-old. I don't know what she's thinking, but yeah, I did. I remember liking, like we would go by a dairy and I would just like, I knew cow, like I could, it was like so gross, like the cow manure, like, you know how you dairy, like I
Yeah.
like because I was like, oh, there's cows nearby. I don't know what it was. I don't know.
I don't
So everybody in your
know.
car is like plugging their nose, and Deb's like trying to roll down the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and yeah, it did that phase didn't last for too long, but
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Oh, and another thing okay, so you know how she loves indoor soccer. Like she's been playing indoor soccer for years.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah.
But when she was in middle school, so did you ever talk about, I doubt you talk about middle school. That was such a long time ago. But basically the middle school I went to was really close by our house because it was a new middle school and I was able to get like a transfer, even though we were really close. The way they drew the lines in our town was, to make the schools diverse. So it's just not like you're just going to the school right nearby. That's,
Sure.
So by the time Deb was in middle school and then, one of her closest friends, whoops, sorry, I just shook the whole thing. They couldn't get into that school. My mom even was like talking to the softball coach and he tried to get her in because, he knew that if she took after me, she was a good softball player, which she was. So she had to go to this school that was like, kind of had the reputation of like, that's the tough school, that's the school. And she was the only redhead in the whole school, I think. The only like white girl redhead, not the only like Caucasian, but she ended up loving it. She had fantastic teachers. Correct me if I'm wrong. But when she started playing sports there, they realized she's very athletic. So they kind of just threw her on the soccer team and she hated it. She hated it. She's not a quitter. So she didn't quit, but every time like she'd come back, she wasn't a distance runner. Like she wasn't like a run the length of a soccer field. Remember? Like you were just,
but not only that, but so the sports that I did play there at middle school, I played basketball, volleyball, and softball. I had already known all those sports beforehand. Like I played them in elementary school at at the recreation level. I never had an interest in soccer. So when they threw me on the team in middle school, not only did I not want to do it, but I didn't know the positions. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I go out there and run. I'm like, what position is this? They're like, Deb, go play. I know the positions now because I play now. They're like, yeah, Deb, go play forward, whatever. And I'd be like, okay. And I'd jog out there and I'd ask a teammate, where is that? Where do I go?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I was too embarrassed to ask the coach. And no one, anyway, so I didn't know what I was doing. I just would run around and kick the ball, which is kind of what I do now in my adult.
But it's just funny, the things that change and, it's, I'll just kind of see where life takes you with different interests is fun. And one more story, they're all just like little tiny stories, but I mentioned she is a baker, like she has it, but she didn't start really young like me. Like I was always the one that was up there, like at the counter in our tiny kitchen with my mom, like showing me how to do the stuff. And she was more kind of like, tell me when the cookies are done, and then I'll like come taste them. But she just wasn't as hands-on.
A little wine glass.
Yeah. And it really wasn't until after our mom passed away. And I think she was kind of like, okay, like I want to start baking. And she knew a little bit, but she called me. I was away at college and she's a senior in high school. And she calls me to ask me how to turn the oven on.
I did not.
Apparently we had this old oven. There was like a kind of a trick to it and a light meant one thing. And she was like, Sissy, how do I turn the oven on? Like I'm trying to make chocolate chip cookies. What temperature should it be? And I was just cracking up. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Dad clearly wasn't home, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He would have shown her, but
yeah.
So, and that's one of the reasons why I knew she just had it, because she didn't, it didn't take her long to figure it out.
That's good. Man, that would be it.
I know how to turn an oven on now. Thank goodness. Yes. But I do remember that actually.
Yeah.
Turn the oven on.
Man, I'm trying to think if I got that call from one of my siblings, that would have been a terrifying call. Cause like, do I give them do I just say like, don't do it? Or do I give them the instructions and just hope they don't burn the whole house down on accident?
Right.
But the house is still there. You're all good.
Yeah.
We're all good. Yep.
There you go.
Oh, man.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. That was cool. That was fun to hear those things. And, it's cool. It's always one of those things too. It's fun, with your son growing up. You kind of alluded to this earlier, like being connected to Aunt Deb, even if it's through Marco Polo or all these different things. Like one day, those stories that you just shared will be kind of his stories, right? And who knows, maybe one day he'll do a podcast and share stories about crazy Aunt Deb. You know what I mean? But
you get toys too. Sorry.
What's that?
So I do get him the loud, annoying toys. Sorry, Alicia.
It's okay.
You know what?
Hide them.
I've joked with my wife before. So our girls are talkers, They're 5 and 3, and so they've always been talkers, and they talk all the time, and we talk all the time in this house. That's why I do a podcast. And so we've always joked with people. People will give us toys, noisy toys, and they're like, "Yeah, it's probably gonna be drive you guys crazy." And it's like, it's a loud house. It doesn't matter what you get, unless you have a fire alarm in there, we'll be fine. But there have been people that we know that have kids that are very quiet, and we love getting them noisy toys. It's like, just drop a little grenade in your house. Enjoy this. So yeah, so I get it. There's some fun noisy toys out there, you know?
Yeah.
So
one of them is not fun. Like the ones you got them like 2 Christmases ago, it's like these monster trucks, and they're just so loud. You can't turn them down, and you can't, like, once the song is started, it has to just play the whole thing, and I'm just
ooh, that's tough. That is tough.
Anyway.
So you guys will be together for Thanksgiving, as we talked about before. That'll be fun. Now, do you guys like? I can't remember, Deb, if you like Thanksgiving. Do you guys enjoy Thanksgiving? Is it a big deal for you guys? Or because I know for some people they're like, I hate turkey. I don't like people that much, so therefore I don't like Thanksgiving. It's weird. I actually like Thanksgiving. And someone a couple years ago, I heard this on a podcast. They're like, they're like, okay, do you like Christmas or Thanksgiving better? And they're like, honestly, I like Thanksgiving because you have the food, you have football. And they said, and it's like the kickoff party for the Christmas season. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting perspective. I still prefer Christmas, but that was kind of a cool way of looking at Thanksgiving. But so it sounds like you guys enjoy Thanksgiving, getting together and all that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's been different every year.
Yes.
So it's, there was even one year where Alicia and Rob came to me, and at the time, someone I was dating at the time, we were living together. So like it was just, so like we hosted that year. And sometimes we'll go home to the Central Valley. And again, when Rob's parents, when they were alive, they would go to San Diego. So I think this will be the first time that we go to Alicia and Rob's house for Thanksgiving, right?
For the actual holiday, yes.
Actual holiday,
yeah,
in their new house. So that'll be fun. Yeah,
I'm
very cool.
Looking forward to it.
It's different every year. It's just it is kind of exciting to like every year. Like, okay, what's happening for Thanksgiving this year? It's just a little different every year.
Yeah,
so
true.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun, and it'll be fun to have both Auntie Deb and Auntie Mona in the same room to see what Calvin calls us. So
that's gonna really throw him for a loop. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of a little bit crazy for him.
Our names are used interchangeably, and we don't mind.
They are.
Yes.
There you go. It would suck if you did mind. Like, I'm not a fan of that aunt. Wish you'd stop calling me that name. So,
No.
I do have to ask. This just popped in my head. So, Alicia, you were kind enough to send us a bunch of pictures for the Halloween episode. Right. Awesome costumes, by the way.
Thank you.
And I don't know if you listened to that episode, but I did mention.
I did.
I think like the picture I enjoyed the most. You guys obviously had the awesome Star Wars costumes, but it was the Paw Patrol one, mainly because of how you were standing. Because I'm like the arm, the leg up. I'm like, I feel like my wife or myself we've done that before, and it's like, you recognize that pose. Like that's not the way you want to stand, but it's like for the picture, you got to do it. So I appreciated that a lot. But the Star Wars stuff was crazy. Like you guys are really into it, huh?
So it's my husband for sure. I'm just kind of like,
you're along for the ride.
Let's do it. And it is because Deb was trying to say about how, well, now we have to put him up at our new place, but it's DC. So the DC comics is what he's really into. But there's another room of Star Wars art and Star Wars things. So the Ewok, I wish I should have sent a closer up of his Ewok costume was so cute. It was just so adorable with the little like fuzzy ears and and I actually had a really good because I sent you my Rey costume too. It's fun. It is fun. But if you were to quiz me on Star Wars, I'd get like a C- probably.
Okay.
So like when it comes to really appreciating all the things, there's just so much stuff now. They made so many movies. But yes, thank you. We are into dressing up as a family, and we've been able to do it every year. We were Paw Patrol again this year because Calvin wanted to be Paw Patrol again.
It makes sense. Paw Patrol is a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It's the Star Wars things. I never really got really deep into Star Wars, but we went to Disneyland this past summer. It was my first time seeing their Star Wars land, and I felt like a fraud. I was pushing the stroller walking through there because one of our daughters was sleeping. I'm walking through. I'm like, this is really cool. But like, I don't know what this is, and so as we were trying to meet the other people in the group, they're like, "Oh, meet us by this ship." I'm like, "Oh, cool." And I'm like Googling, like, what is this?
The Millennium Falcon, probably.
That's
Yeah.
that's the only one I knew. That's the only one I knew. The rest of them are like, I'm like, I don't know what that is. So I'm like Googling, oh yeah. I'll meet you there for sure. Like I have no idea.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a big
It's
world.
okay.
So I don't blame you. If you're if he's really into it and you're along for the ride, there's a lot to learn.
Yes.
There's a lot. It's a big world. So
definitely.
But yeah, thank you for submitting those costumes. That was awesome.
Yeah. It's a fun episode.
We definitely appreciated it. But anyways, Deb, we don't want to keep everybody too late, but you have some questions, or I guess responses to questions from people for Thanksgiving. You want to get into that?
Okay, so I'm just gonna say them and not say who submitted them because my notes are all over the place. But so the two questions were, again, they're all over the place, but what are some awkward, crazy, like Thanksgiving stories, like at dinner time with your family? And do you eat traditional or non-traditional food for Thanksgiving? Because it's always fun to kind of see like different cuisines at Thanksgiving and stuff. And come on, the tea always happens at the dinner table. Not with my and Alicia's family necessarily. Like I literally was trying to think. I was like, I got nothing. Like I can't think of any awkward or crazy stories.
Yeah.
And then, so to answer both those questions, I don't have any, and we usually just eat traditional food like the ham and turkey and stuffing and stuff. Anyway, okay. So, well, I will say, anyway, Josh sent this to me. So, Nick, aka Dad and Greatly, said I proposed to my wife on Thanksgiving in a very specific way. Her cousin's new boyfriend was there. 1 year on the dot later, he proposed to the cousin in the exact same way.
Oh no.
He said, seriously, who does that? So awkward.
Yeah. I read that. It's such a bizarre thing. I mean,
that is funny.
I don't know what's worse. Like I guess it'd be more awkward if you were the person who proposed, like if Nick, who proposed the year before, is now sitting here with a front row seat watching this clown maybe it's not a clown. Sorry, Nick. He might be a nice guy. I don't know. But like, do this thing in front of you. It's like, I just did that. Or the guy who's said, you know what, I'm going to just steal this idea and reuse it the next year.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the person being proposed to. Because, I mean, she's sitting there and this should be a big deal for her. But she's like, this happened last year and you just recycled this proposal. I don't like this. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe, he did a good job, I guess. And he was inspired. Who knows? So anyway, that would be super awkward. And then
I'm sorry. Hold on. Like, I don't know how you guys feel, but like, I would love to be a witness to that. Like if I was at a family get together and I saw that and I was there for the year prior, I'm like what is going on here? Like it would be great to view. Yeah. But, if I was involved, it probably wouldn't be as much fun.
And then we have another submission says that her friend was past her due date, tried everything to get the baby out, and then she ate the paella. Thank you. The paella that her dad made on Thanksgiving, and then she went into labor. And now this is from Kaylin. So now Kaylin's dad is famous for his labor-inducing pain.
It's probably the saffron.
That's a mom talking. That's interesting. I guess she didn't say, but has it happened again? Like has someone else eaten the paella? And
I know, right? No, they just kind of, I think they joke about it now at this point. Not that because there's been no one. I'm trying to think of. Not that I know Kaylin's whole life, but like I don't think so.
That'd be amazing. That's like a whole new business for him.
Yeah, connect him with a midwife or a doula or something.
Exactly. Just send a bunch of paella their way. That's not a bad idea.
Right. So, and then to continue with the awkward stories, then another person submitted. So a reason that she doesn't have anyone bring food to her Thanksgiving, like her Friendsgiving gatherings anymore, is why. So I guess 1 year a friend brought risotto as a side and she was like, oh, okay. And then so she continues and says, well, when you're doing a turkey, the last 30 minutes are semi-crucial. Well, also when you are doing a risotto. And then to top it off, I guess the person who brought the risotto, he gets the risotto started, but then goes outside to smoke.
Uh-oh.
So then she is stuck working
Oh
to
no.
finish all of it, the risotto, the turkey, the sides, gravy, getting all the food out hot, etc. So she was livid. She said, I went to the garage, pounded a beer, and put it all back together and got a great
Oh,
turkey
no.
for everyone to enjoy.
Risotto's labor intensive. You have to stir it and stir it. You can't stop stirring it.
Yeah.
Robert makes it sometimes, and it's a big deal.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
gives them experience. Ugh, that'd be tough.
So she said she's like, he's no longer invited to
I
Friendsgiving.
know.
So
Straight to 3 strikes. You're out.
right?
Yeah,
You're out.
that would be tough. Sorry, I don't. I'm gonna, Alicia. Yeah, I know you've listened to the podcast a little bit. I tend to interrupt, so that is tough. Though I feel like whether it's a Friendsgiving or a Thanksgiving, whether it's just friends or family, I do feel like if you're with kind of the same group of people year in and year out for Thanksgiving, that is the kind of thing that will scar your reputation. Like if you mess something up so badly where it's either not edible or it causes a massive headache for someone else, like you're kind of screwed for the rest of your life unless you can somehow come out of it. But like it becomes a story every year. It's like, oh, you remember one time,
Right.
Uncle Joe made that pumpkin pie and it had no sugar. Like stuff like that becomes, it's just it's part of the tradition at that point. It's like we traditionally get together and then also we tell the story about how this person screwed up, 10 years ago. So that's tough. You gotta be careful when you contribute to that dinner.
Sure.
Right? Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. And I did go to her, I just went to her Friendsgiving for this year a few weekends ago. And she, like, there was hella food. And then in my mind, I'm like, oh, people brought food. Oh, I feel like an ass. I didn't bring anything. And so at the end, I was like, I asked her and she's like, no, I made all this. I'm like, what?
Oh,
You
wow.
made this?
Impressive.
It's so
Wow.
good. It was a lot. It was, yeah. So that tracks where she says she doesn't ask anyone to bring it anything. She just makes it herself.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And then some more awkward stories. Someone submitted on Instagram. My uncle showed up with a stranger who asked if anyone would donate a kidney to her.
Wow.
I tried and said, what? Tell what? And nothing. Didn't get anything from him yet. So there's that. So that's crazy. And then
hold on.
I know.
We can't just skate past that one. That's insane.
The story. I know.
So leading up to introducing Alicia onto the podcast, I went on a whole like silly rant about people showing up that you weren't expecting. It was all BS. It was just a lead in to surprise you with Alicia. Now that being said, this would be a situation where I would be furious. Like if someone came and said, okay, cool, you're welcome here. And they're like, hey, but they're just like pulling people off to the side. Hey, I'm in a tough spot health-wise. Can you donate a kidney? Like, what? It's a wild thing to say. How do you get out of the house with any kind of good reputation after that? And the person who brought her too.
It's just like, what? Does that really happen? But maybe, I guess.
I'd be concerned too. Like there's like another level, and you, Deb, you watch the true crime stuff. There's like another level to this where it's like, if there was someone who's bold enough to go to someone else's family Thanksgiving and ask for a kidney, I'm definitely watching my back when I go out of the house that night to get to my car.
Well, I'm calling the police and I'm saying, hey,
there you go.
Someone just showed up asking for a kidney. This is what it looks like. Describe them.
Jeez.
So I think you're looking for a person.
Yeah. She's just putting a bunch of ice in the bathtub. Like, what are you doing? I'm getting prepared.
Don't let them near the knives.
Yeah, exactly. Hide them all.
Yeah, right. And then someone else said, being told I, quote, ate like I am poor when eating a Thanksgiving brunch at a friend's family event.
Oh, no.
And then he said, and I was like, what? And he elaborated and said, like, I was ravenous. Like, I was really hungry that Thanksgiving. Ate
That's
like
tough.
I hate, but like, yeah, don't comment on how I eat. Like,
Whoops.
Don't comment on how much food I put on my plate. Don't ask if I'm going to eat all of it. Don't comment at all. Just let me do my thing. It's Thanksgiving, and you eat your food and we'll talk about things, but don't comment on how I'm eating.
That's a good point. All that being said, Alicia, how does Deb normally eat at your house?
No, she's fine.
Okay.
She's fine. I mean, I can't think of anything out of the ordinary.
She's not like growling at your son. Like, don't look at Deb's.
No.
Don't look at Deb's chicken.
Well, honestly, as a mom, I'm not watching other people eating. I'm making sure my kiddos like
Sure.
putting food, like that he's focusing on eating and not just playing.
Sure.
You could probably relate.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, does your son? Because I'm sorry. How old is he again?
He's about 4.5.
Okay, so is Thanksgiving like a fun thing for him? Like, does he eat a lot of those foods, or is it kind of?
Yeah, some, I guess this is his 5th Thanksgiving then. Yeah, this
Okay.
will be his 5th Thanksgiving, but we haven't done the same thing 2 years in a row.
Gotcha.
Like not at all. So I think we'll give him like a little bit of everything, and
Sure.
then we'll probably end up having Dino Nuggets as a backup
Yeah.
because he will
Yeah.
always eat Dino Nuggets. So
Sure.
and I think that he's just definitely old enough to where when we go around to say, kind of the typical, what are you thankful for? He can say what he's thankful for, because we say that in our prayers sometimes at night, or just like, do you want to thank Jesus for anything? And he'll,
Sure.
say something. And so, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. That's awesome. That is fun. Going around and doing that. We kind of have to put a cap on our daughters, though. It's like, all right, after the 10th thing, we gotta give someone else a shot too.
Yeah.
So sorry, Deb. Didn't mean to interrupt your list.
No, that's cute. Let's see what Calvin thinks about my deviled eggs this year. We'll see.
I think I like them. I have high hopes.
Let's see. I haven't made them in a while, so I hope you don't have high hopes. But
keep my expectations.
Yeah. Okay. And that was all the awkward stories I got. So in terms of like the food, here's some responses that I got. Totally traditional Thanksgiving Day food: turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, cranberry sauce, pumpkin pie, and apple pie, and ham. And then someone else said, kind of like non-traditional, that there's turkey and ham, but so many random foods. And this is Deb, because here's a dead giveaway. Like, because I added like lumpia, and she's like, yeah,
nice.
like Filipino food,
Makes
like
sense.
pancit, lumpia.
So good.
Grandpa wants to cook, so there are those responses. And a couple other people said, totally traditional food. Someone else said, sorry, my notes are all over the place. Here it is. We eat non-traditional food. We started 2 years ago where we would eat some of our favorite Argentinian food, like empanadas and
Nice.
hold on, empanadas and I'm going to say this wrong. Milanesa. I was going to say, I knew my sister would know what to say.
It's kind of like a breaded chicken. It's done a special way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is so, I'm not going to say this. This is so weird because you guys do look similar. And when Deb's trying to pronounce the word, it's like she's really struggling. And then it's like it flash forward, like Alicia's the version of Deb that learned how to say it.
That speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
Alicia's a Spanish teacher, so I'm like, yes. I still know what I'm trying to say.
That makes sense, because I'm like, you are really smooth with these words. That makes sense.
That's what I do every day.
All right. You should have just given your sister those questions.
I know. But yeah, those are the responses that I got. So it sounds like pretty traditional food. I'm
a little surprised.
Right. And so, Alicia, what are we having for Thanksgiving again? What you mentioned?
Well,
doing turkey.
The only reason we're really doing a turkey, because we have a group text, and I really just want that day after Thanksgiving sandwich, that leftover sandwich. Ooh. And that's why I got a little turkey. I got like a young turkey. It's like only 10 pound turkey. But yeah, we gotta have the cranberry sauce. Robert loves the traditional green bean casserole. I'm gonna do some sweet potatoes with no marshmallows in honor of my late mother-in-law, Maureen. She just loved to have like a little sweet potato. And I think our sister-in-law is making focaccia, which is yummy. And I think we wanted to do one other dish that wasn't turkey. I guess we haven't decided yet what that is. But there will be no pumpkin pie, because pumpkin pie is not very good. I'll just say it.
Let's go.
Unpopular opinion, I know, but
not here.
I realized that the only reason I liked eating it as a child is because I put a whole bunch of Cool Whip on it, and it was just a vessel for the Cool Whip. That's the only reason I like pumpkin pie. Pumpkin is great. Give me pumpkin bread, pumpkin cake, pumpkin rolls, but I just don't like the texture of pumpkin pie.
How do you feel about candy corn?
Ugh,
Let's go.
wax.
We
It's
might be
just
best friends,
wax.
Alicia. We might be best friends.
Gross.
I'm going to tell my wife I made a new friend tonight.
Deb loves candy corn. Do you still like candy corn?
I
You
will
used to
say,
love it. It's
I will,
disgusting.
no,
It
I will,
is.
the older I get, my sweet tooth is very like I can only have a little bit. Like I don't know. I'm still a candy corn fan, trust, but I can't tell you when the last time I've had candy corn. I
Well,
can't
then,
tell you if you put it in front of me, like I'll eat some, like sure, but like I can't tell you when the last time I've had some.
okay.
And I don't keep like I'll keep like a bar of chocolate in my cabinet to have like one piece, and I like my sweet tooth is just I'm very disappointed in myself.
Well, whenever I come to your house, I finish off whatever bar you had in there. Like, so by the way, I'm sorry about that. But, yeah. But like, Josh, so you don't like pumpkin pie either?
I don't. It's the same thing. It's the texture.
Yeah,
but I'm the
right?
same way though. Like with the pumpkin spice stuff, not drinks, but like muffins,
Yes.
bread. I'm good with all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the pumpkin pie is I've just never liked it. And the difference is you could put as much whipped cream on that as you want. It's not going to change anything for me. I'll be able to sniff out the pumpkin. I do not like it.
Nope.
So it's probably saved me a little bit on Thanksgiving. It's saved because I do have a sweet tooth, and there have been some times where like over the years my family they would get a pumpkin pie and like another pie, and I could pass on both of them. So as far as this is maybe best for my sweet tooth. I could pass on these two things easily. And there's other times where it's like they get a couple like berry pies that are really good. It's like, well, I'm about to gain a couple more pounds tonight. But yeah, pass every time on the pumpkin pie. Not a problem.
Yep,
so if you guys could pick a pie for Thanksgiving, what would you pick? Like a dessert, like a Thanksgiving dessert. What would it be?
Cake.
That's not a bad call. That's not a bad call.
I'm a cake. I'll pick cake over pie any day.
Well, I don't think cake. You don't see cake at Thanksgiving. That's the thing. You just see.
I bring cake to Thanksgiving sometimes. I made like a fall cake. It was like an apple cake. It had like apple filling between the layers of cinnamon apple.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, anything she makes is good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I like pie. I'm a chocolate person, so there's every once in a while someone would bring a chocolate pie to Thanksgiving, but not very often. And that was always a huge deal for me. Like, oh, it's a chocolate pie. But there was one time, and I've said this before, but there was one time my bajan, or my grandma, it's Japanese for grandma, she brought this berry, like a triple berry pie.
Ooh, yeah.
And it was like the way it was like pureed in the middle. And whatever they did to that pie was incredible. And she only got it 1 year. And all my entire life, it was that 1 year she got it. It was the best pie I'd ever had.
Wow.
I would have taken this one over chocolate, which if anybody knows me, that's saying a lot. And I never saw it again. There's a lot of pumpkin pie and apple pie after that. And so I would have loved a cake on those days, but it wasn't in my cards, unfortunately. Okay. How about cheesecake? My brother is a huge cheesecake fan. I think he would prefer cheesecake on Thanksgiving.
I could do cheesecake. Cheesecake tends to be not overly sweet. Yeah. It's just kind of creamy, but you got the sweetness in the graham cracker crust. Yeah. So that can be nice.
Yeah. And then those psychopaths make like that pumpkin cheesecake. Get out of here. Enough. What are you doing?
That is a possibility.
Yeah. I'll pass. But yeah. So Deb, did you say a dessert?
I do like a good apple pie. Okay. I'll do apple pie.
Classic fall. I mean,
it's just classic fall, and it's not, but it's also not too sweet. It's not like, again, my sweet tooth. I'm very disappointed in myself, but it's just very low level these days. But I'll eat, for Thanksgiving, I will eat an apple pie.
Okay. Good to know. Well, Alicia, you mentioned the sandwiches after Thanksgiving. That is one of the best parts about the turkey. There's a lot of people that don't like turkey, and I understand the reasoning. I don't care because I love it, but they just don't enjoy it. But like the sandwich is a huge part of it. Like that sets me, like I'm set at for like lunches at work for a while after that. Right? It's delicious.
Yeah, so good. Like get like whatever roll. If you had bread, you really just put all the leftovers together. You could even throw this. This might sound gross to some people, but you could even throw a little bit of that green bean casserole on there if you want a little green.
Sure.
I know you just put it all together. Cranberry sauce to make it a little sweet. And you could even melt some cheese, maybe not with the cream, but you do whatever you want.
Sure.
So it's fun.
I actually saw a recipe. I don't know exactly what was in it, but it was a lot of the stuff left over from Thanksgiving. They put it in a waffle iron So like they mix it in a bowl and they put it in a
Ooh.
waffle iron.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
Never done it, but it did look pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Deb, do you like the leftovers or no?
Oh yeah, I'll do
Okay.
leftovers all day. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep,
It is the best part.
It
That's
is.
good.
Sometimes they're better as leftovers too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, Deb, I was going to ask you, so in our text when we were trying to figure out, even though I knew exactly what we were going to be talking about tonight, we were talking about the Thanksgiving stuff. You mentioned prime rib or turkey. Do you know someone who does prime rib on Thanksgiving?
I can't, I don't know. I thought at one point in my life that one of my friends said that they do prime rib, and I can't remember who.
Well, Jenny does for
Does she do
Christmas.
prime-
For
for
Christmas.
Okay.
It's for Christmas. It's like on Christmas Eve or something, or
Yeah, that makes sense.
23rd or Christmas night.
Okay, maybe that's what was going through my head. But I was just, well, because like I was giving Josh examples of like I think people do non-traditional food like I feel like some people will do prime rib or like maybe ribs or like Mexican food. I don't know. It's just kind of
Ribs would be cool. I do
right.
like ribs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. No, I was just curious because that really like I did. You stopped me in my tracks when you said that. I'm like, wait, prime rib and turkey. Who's making this decision? Maybe like Christmas. It does make sense. I know people that do that. I think my mom's done it before,
Maybe that's what I was thinking.
and it's delicious. But
for sure.
yeah. Well, like I said, I want to be respectful of everybody's time, but I do have one more question because it does relate to Thanksgiving. You guys do the Black Friday thing, or have you guys ever done the Black Friday thing?
If anything, I'll just do it online. Like I won't go in the stores.
Sure.
If anything, I'll just do Amazon. If I do. But,
Sure.
Yeah.
I remember when we were little, our mom and our aunts would go do Black Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sometimes I would tag along, and it was kind of fun. It's kind of gotten out of hand since the late 90s.
Sure.
For sure. It's a different animal now.
Sure.
Although maybe it's not as crazy post pandemic. I don't know. Is everyone or most people home? I haven't been out in years.
I've never done it. I know it was always wild seeing like driving to my family's house on Thanksgiving and passing by stores and seeing people in line already. It's like, this is like Thanksgiving morning.
Oh, right.
We're already doing this. So I remember seeing that, like, this is insane to me.
Yeah.
But no, I never did it. And you might be right. It might be kind of tailing off a little bit since the pandemic. But I don't know. I guess I'll never find out because I'm never going to do it.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
No, there's no way. Yeah. No way. So, well, cool. This has been a super fun episode. I don't want to do this, but do you guys have anything you want to say you're grateful for? I feel like we do this every year.
Oh.
If you have something, please feel free to share.
I'm grateful that my sister's on our podcast tonight. That's so cool.
It's
fun.
I've actually been looking forward to this one a lot. And I just want to say this, and Deb can attest to this. I would never say this if I didn't mean it. You're really good on the podcast.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah. It's like you were natural. You just came in in a weird way. Like no one's ever done this before where we just drop someone in mid recording and you handle it like a pro. Like you've been doing this for years. So it's nice job.
Thank you. It was so fun. I was also looking forward to this very much so since we had it planned.
Perfect.
Our secret plan.
Secret plan.
Yeah.
I was so scared I was going to drop the ball at some point. Like I was going to add her. I sent her the wrong link.
No, she didn't even, and Alicia didn't even drop the ball. I called her earlier today. I was like, okay, bye. We were talking for 2 minutes, and then they're like, okay, bye.
Yep.
That's why I asked him, like, when's the last time you saw your sister? I don't know. It's going to be about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Alicia, anything you're thankful for before we get out of here?
I mean, besides the kind of obvious, like friends and family and good health and such, I'm thankful for my job. It's not easy being a high school teacher, but I'm just thankful that I'm still enjoying it after like 11 years. And I just have a lot of room for creativity and, I have like good like health insurance through that, which is, a side benefit, but, I'm thankful for my job and really just, again, I'm just really thankful for my little guy, for my kiddo. And, that's just something I'm thankful for every day, even on the really, you get those tough days sometimes where like everything seems to be going wrong, but I'm still very thankful. So.
Love it. Yeah. Same here. Same. Thankful for all the normal things, which is kind of a cool thing, right? Like they're the normal things, but you know, they're normal because I'm just thankful for those things all the time. So family, the kids' health, job, all that stuff. So, all good things for sure. So, Deb, where can they follow us on social media?
You guys can follow us on Twitter at Connectable Pod and every other social media platform at Connectable Podcast, like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Is that it?
We were having such a nice time, Deb, until you did that. Yes, TikTok as well. And I did see Alicia did the double guns as well.
Yeah.
It's a family thing.
It was like just mirroring her.
Yep. It's like I saw just the same person do it 2 times. So there we go. So Alicia, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course.
Happy Thanksgiving to you guys. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody who's listening.
Yes.
We're very grateful that you guys continue to listen and support the show. And we will see you next week for a new episode. All right.
Yeah.
See you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable Podcast.